Things are getting out of control. Brands are selling us Supreme bricks for $30, a simple tin can from a Tiffany & Company for $1,000, and a golden paperclip for $1,500. There seems to be no limit what luxury brands can sell to us. The worst part is, people are actually buying that. And how did we go from fashion shows to this, where people wear people and donuts and whatever that is? As a marketer, I made this video to finally give us some understanding of luxury brands' marketing tactics, how they are carefully advertising their message, using our need to pursue social status by buying more and more products. In 2023, LVMH, the luxury goods company from France, which included brands like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Prada, and many more, became the most valuable company in Europe. From all of the agriculture companies, car brands, real estate, and all companies that are the bedrock of our society, luxury brand company is the #1 most valuable company that also makes its owner the richest man on the planet. Then it's not a surprise that one of the biggest misconceptions about luxury brands is that people think it's the rich people who buy them. That is not the truth. You don't become the richest man on the planet selling to the rich. Luxury brands understand that. They have to sell to the rest of the world. And this is why marketing teams are targeting those who can just afford it, or it's just outside of their budget. People who want to be perceived as rich wear luxury brands with labels. But if we think of the uber rich like Bill Gates, rarely do they wear obvious logos. Money talks, but wealth whispers. There were studies where Americans with a household income of over $1 million labeled the following designer brands as the most overrated: Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Rolex, Hermes, and Prada. These brands are among the top 10 luxury brands, but I would use a different word than overrated: waste of time and resources. Can we all agree that the fashion shows and luxury items have nearly zero contribution to the life on the planet? That doesn't include every luxury brand, but most of them. It doesn't make people happier, more social, less hungry, or the world more sustainable. Make your own opinion by watching this full video. We are not rational, at least not as rational as we think we are. We think we are making the right buying decisions, but in reality, when we are deciding between the products, we are weighing rational and irrational. There are really just 3 types of brands. Let's take a medium-sized bag product as an example: IKEA bag, Nike bag, and Louis Vuitton bag. All 3 of these bags are on the scale from the most practical to the most fashionable, or with the most status. Let's now forget what you know for a minute. All of these brands have one purpose: to carry the same amount of things. It is the brands that made us think the bag is suitable for IKEA shopping, sport equipment, or travel clothes. But the truth is, any bag can carry those things. Brands only gave it a purpose, and people are buying into that idea. It is not the special features that drive the price high, like waterproof features or separate space for shoes, more pockets, or even better quality. That's not the main driver of the price. It is the brand. It is the non-practical factor that drives the price the most. The paradox here is that the smaller or less practical the bag will be, the more expensive it will become. We are not only purely rational or irrational. I've made many rational purchases, but many of them also consist of brands that have no rational justifications. You've probably seen it. People walk around with these ultra expensive bags, $10,000 shoes, or diamond watches. So what makes luxury brands so expensive? Well, that depends. How much are you willing to pay for your identity? We are not just talking about the slight price increase. We are talking about the whole new level of expense. Even given the high quality of these materials are just a fraction of the final price tag. Here's the exact price of making a luxury bag. Let's use example of Volkan Yilmaz, known on social media as Tanner Leatherstein, who has an unordinary approach to educate people about luxury brands. I call him the worst nightmare for luxury brands, uncovering what is really behind the luxury leather bag. According to his expertise, customers are paying a markup of 10 times. And this leaves this Louis Vuitton bag with a retail price of $2,700, only $260 of manufacturing costs. That includes leather, additional materials, and labor. What it does not include are the rent, staff, retail operations, legal services, and marketing. And of course, the operating margin, which for most luxury brands, it is around 25% to 35%. But all of these numbers shouldn't matter. What matters is the real value you get as a customer, and that's the rational purpose you get from the product. Unless you are going for the status, then you are paying an extra $2,440 for that. It is clear that the high price tags often translate high desirability. It is a psychological game where the price becomes an indicator of quality and status, driving consumer decisions to buy. So why do we keep buying expensive products, even if we all know that we are being influenced by the marketing? How do brands like Gucci, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, and others control us? It is through one of our powerful feelings that, according to Buddhism, is the origin of all of our suffering: desire. These brands learn to manipulate us with these three key aspects of desire: exclusivity, luxury, and endorsement. Scarcity is the key ingredient of exclusivity. The harder an item is to obtain, the more desirable it becomes. This is largely achieved by increasing the price, but some of the top brands like Ferrari, you can't simply buy with money. You have to wait, sometimes for many years, to get them. As for luxury brands, are using luxury materials, famous designers, and beautiful looks as the price justification. And with endorsement, celebrity endorsements also play a crucial role. When a high-profile personality wears a brand, it is alignment of values and status, and it is acceptance to the elite club. While it might seem that all of those aspects are about the product, they just reflect our desire. When we buy a luxury brand, we want to be perceived as exclusive, also surrounded by high quality, and we want to join the elite club. People choose brands based on their perceptions of themselves. They wear brands that represent them. Some appreciate the quality, but many are borrowing the brand perception. It is not about the product or company. It was always about us, people. Why we are willing to pay more for exactly the same thing. If it's not the product, but rather our identity that we wear, the question is why we can ignore all the dark history of those famous brands. You see, some of these brands have been around since the 18th century, and over 200 years, they can make a lot of mistakes. Ever wondered why the Nazi SS uniforms look so stylish? Hugo Boss. We are willing to wear fashion like Coco Chanel, Hugo Boss, or Louis Vuitton that were in some way involved with the Nazis during World War II, even to the point of ignoring the connection to the worst war crimes in the history of humanity. And there are other controversies about luxury brands. Fashion is the #2 carbon emission industry, just after oil. Then we have animal cruelty, destroying unsold products to maintain scarcity, and terrible labor practices while operating at high margins. Why not just create a new brand with a clean sheet? It has to do something with repetition. David Ogilvy, the father of advertising, once said, "Advertising is repetition." And so you earn recognition over time. If you have a brand over 200 years old that consistently advertises, with the repetition, the value of the brand accumulates over time, making it a well-known household name. But it's not just any marketing. What these brands don't do is advertise "buy me" over and over. Instead, they repeat unconsciously your desire for identity. All the luxury brand ads you will see don't use a word about quality or try to give you any reason to buy. It's just a photo, brand name, and large display at a really expensive location. It does have a bright side. We don't have to watch a flashing light on the street screaming for attention. However, This type of marketing is like planting a seed in our brain, quietly growing its influence over time. And the seed is planted in the epicenter of luxury brands, fashion shows. Let's be real. The last time most of us did something fashionable was accidentally mixing socks because it was too dark to see in the morning. But when it comes to beauty, we all can kind of agree what is beautiful. We can also agree on who is the most beautiful model, or even the best fashion show, Victoria's Secret. But we went from this to this. We kind of get ourselves in these crazy fashion shows. How did we get from beauty to insanity? Beauty is not good enough anymore. Crazy, daring, and controversial. That's what brings media attention and eyeballs. Even bad marketing is still a form of promotion. It's all part of the fashion theater. The models are the actors. How do I know that? Well, what do you think that models wear on the day off? What do you think these designers wear on the daily basis? Well, turns out that this is what they promote and this is what they wear. They are wearing the most common clothes you can buy for $100. Not that they did cost $100, they for sure cost thousands of dollars. But at the end, it is the boring black suit and dresses. Fashion is not all dark as the clothes designers wear. There are exceptions in fashion. One of my favorite examples is the watch brand Patek Philippe. And this is not sponsored, let's be real, I have barely few subscribers. By the way, if you love this content so far, this is just a fraction of the content that I put on the internet. Not every content is suitable for YouTube retention. So some of the most valuable content about marketing is on my Twitter and my newsletter. And now back to Patek Philippe. Many watch brands strive to keep with the time, often releasing new collections and updating design. However, there is one luxury brand that is trying to distance itself from the concept of fashion brand. The positioning of Patek Philippe Swiss watch brand is based on the fact that these brands should be passed down from generation to generation. Your grandfather wore this watch, your father wore this watch, and now you wear it, and you will pass it on to your son. The brand describes itself as a family-owned company, and its slogan is, "You never actually own Patek Philippe, you merely look after it for the next generation." Thus, the brand doesn't encourage you just buy expensive watches. It encourages you to begin your own tradition, emphasizing the idea of family values and transfer wealth from the generation to another. It's not about appearance, this is an investment in your family fortune. Don't forget, people who buy luxury products are borrowing the identity of those brands. It doesn't change who they are, it changes only how they are perceived. Ultimately, over time, it can influence their identity itself. From the words of wisdom by Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. Marketing is simple.